Hey y'all, today I'm going to be taking you through the process of planting some bare root plants, including peonies, clematis, and a viburnum as well. I'm going to take you through the whole process and show you how you can turn these kind of big box, fairly inexpensive plants into beautiful architectural pieces for your garden. As always, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you know when my latest videos are up, and give me a thumbs up on this video. Let me know if you have ever planted anything from bare root, how it went, because I know a lot of people have a really hard time planting bare root, how it went, and if you've had success. Okay, let's talk about what I'm going to be planting. I'm going to be planting a clematis bare root from Lowe's. This one is called Dr. Rupel. And so it basically comes in a package like this, and there's a bare root inside. So I'll open each of these and inspect them and show you. So this is the first one, Clematis Dr. Rupel. I'm also planting a second clematis called HF Young. I like the purple on that. I think these are absolutely beautiful. I'm going to also be planting a bare root peony, the Sarah Bernhardt series, which is a beautiful, fluffy, lots of ruffle series. I've actually seen these in real life. And then finally, I'm going to be planting a Viburnum Japanese snowball. I'm really excited about this. It's going to be a lot of years until it's large enough, because this gets up to 8 to 12 feet tall. That is something I really, really want. I got this from Lowe's as well. The reason I am doing this series for you guys is that not everybody has tons of money. You can certainly buy peony already ready at the nursery. They're typically in my area about $75 per container for peonies. You can certainly buy them online, but I certainly get a lot of questions about utilizing big box. I do think big box is hit or miss, but I do want to go through the steps and show you what the process looks like so that you have the correct process to give these as great of a start as you possibly can. Okay, we're going to start by checking out each of the bare roots to make sure that they look good. This one is the HF Young Clematis. You can definitely see all the roots here. This is the top of the plant right here. Roots look pretty healthy. So I feel good about this one. I think it was only one plant in the whole, yeah. So just one plant to start off with. Typically the crown of the plant likes to be planted about 3 to 4 inches below the soil. Okay, so that one looks pretty good. Let's go to the next one. Okay, this next one is the Dr. Rupel Clematis. And you can actually already see part of it coming up in here. So here's the roots at the bottom. They feel a little dry, but I'm going to fix all that. And we already have a shoot coming up trying to grow. So that's really nice because it makes it easy to see how to plant it. Not in bad shape at all. I'm always inspecting and looking for anything mushy, anything that looks black or rotten, anything like that. Okay, so we got that one. Okay, and then this one is the Sarah Bernhardt peony. Let's see what we got here. And here is the clump. Wow. Very cool. So here's the top. You can see where it's been cut. So this would be all the base roots. You can actually see a few tiny little roots started coming off it. That makes it a little bit easier. This looks healthy. I don't feel anything like there's a gross spot right there. I don't feel anything mushy. It feels good. So yeah, I think this one's in good shape too. I will say that when I'm choosing these at the stores, I don't just pick up the package in front. I feel like when the package is closed, I'm like pressing, feeling like, does it feel soft? Does it feel broken? Like, what does it feel like in there? So definitely, like when you're purchasing something like this from a big box store, do as much observation of it as you can. Okay, and finally, this is the Japanese snowball Viburnum. I was very surprised. The paper, everything actually feels still just slightly damp, which is surprising because I've literally had this in my house for like 4 or 5 weeks now. So I am impressed that it was so well preserved. So basically I just started pulling away some of the material just to kind of check, and you can see some of the roots. Roots still feel strong. Nothing feels like super spongy, but definitely needs to be rehydrated. So what I'm going to start by doing is I'm going to put each of these in a bucket of water, and I'm going to allow them to soak 1 to 2 hours, 2 hours max. and allow them to basically resuscitate all their roots before planting. Okay, I've got a couple of buckets of water over here. I do have these in the shade. I'm not leaving these out in the bright sunshine at this point. I'm going to start by putting the Japanese snowball viburnum in. You can see, look how much it bubbles up. Oh, it needed the water. Now, I don't want the stems to be sitting in water. I just want the roots to be in the water, y'all, okay? So keep that in mind. We're not submerging the entire thing. I'm also gonna put one clematis root in there. This is the HF Young. So I'm gonna set that in there, allow that to soak as well. You can see it's already starting to sink. And then in this one, I'm gonna go ahead and put this one, the Dr. Rupel Clematis, and I'm gonna go ahead and put in the Sarah Bernhardt peony root. I'm not gonna lie, this is a really big peony root. This, I planted a couple earlier this year from Brex, and they were a third of this size. So I'm excited to see how that does. All right, so basically I'm gonna set a timer. Be sure to set a timer. You cannot let these soak the day away or they will rot. So anywhere from an hour to 2 hours max. Okay, it's been almost 2 hours. So I wanted to show you what everything looks like. Here's the viburnum, and you can definitely see all the roots. I'm gonna probably loosen some of the packing material that's around it too before I plant it. And here is the clematis. You can see the roots have actually all plumped up beautifully, so it's going to get planted like this. All right. And then over here is an additional clematis. Looking good. Look how much the roots have all plumped up. Those look great. And then a peony. And I was looking at it earlier. Okay, now that I've let it soak, you can actually see a lot of the eyes. You see them? Eye. Look at all of those eyes that want to be coming up. So that actually helps me out a lot, knowing I want the eyes to be pointing upwards like this. All right, I don't want the eyes to be upside down. You see that eye right there? I don't want that eye to be pointing upside down. All right, we want it to go. So now I know that I want to plant my root like this, because I want these eyes planting upwards. Everything feels real good. Nothing real mushy or anything like that. Okay, so the peony is going to be planted in a pot, just so that I can move it around based on sun needs. At this point in time, I don't have a shade garden planted or ready to go for the peony, so putting it in a pot allows me a lot more flexibility. The clematis are going to go into 2 of the big galvanized bins at the back, right in the center. Clematis prefer to have their feet shaded and all of their vines in sun. So that's really important, and that's what's really great about those galvanized pots. I also like to plant something low around the base of a clematis to hide its roots and to keep its feet nice and cool and shaded. And then the viburnum is actually going to go in the back corner over there, in that back left-hand corner where I used to have a bunch of hollyhocks, which I've now ripped up because of rust mold, but it's going to go back in that corner and become a feature in that corner. So let's get started on planting. Okay, I'm going to be planting the Clematis Dr. Rupel right over here. This soil is very moisture rich, and it has really great nutrients, although I'm going to go ahead and put in a little bit of plant tone to get it started. Basically what we're doing is I'm going to pull this dirt away so I can find the crown of the plant. And here is the crown of the plant. All right, that's the part basically where you see a lot of stuff coming off of the front. This portion right here needs to be 3 to 4 inches below the surface. All right, so I'm going to push it down pretty good. And I'm going to come back and water that as well. Okay, and we're gonna do the Clematis HF Young here. Make sure that I add a little bit of plant tone to start. Once again, I'm gonna pull back the soil so I can see the crown right there, which is where all the roots are coming up, and I want this to be 3 to 4 inches below the soil line. gonna water that in as well. All right, let's go on to the Viburnum.
Laundry in the dishwasher.
All right. Sounds good, baby.
Love you.
Love you. Okay, for the peony root, I'm gonna go ahead and voice over because my neighbor is doing some work outside. So I started with a great potting soil filled up to almost the top in the container. Next thing I'm gonna do is spread out my soil and kind of guesstimate how deep I need to go, keeping the eyes of the plant about 1 inch below the soil. Peonies don't like to be planted really deep. In fact, if you have a peony that hasn't bloomed in a while, consider digging it up and moving it upwards so that it is closer to the surface of the soil. So I'm going to place the root in here with the eyes pointing to the sky. You want them to point up to the sky, not down. And then I'm going to backfill it over with the mix of soil and plant tone. Easy peasy, and then just water it in really, really well. Okay, got all of that done. So we planted both types of clematis, the HF Young and the Dr. Rupel clematis. We did those about 3 to 4 inches for the crown of the plant to be below the surface of the soil. Then we also planted the Viburnum Japanese snowball, and we planted that one a little bit up because of the clay soil. We backfilled with lots of rich compost to help start breaking down the clay there as well. And then we kind of mounded it up a little bit more just so that the roots would have a little bit more breathing room. And so that one, I'm hopeful for that one. We'll see. There's a lot more clay soil back there than I realized. But who knows, they're supposed to be pretty versatile plants. So we'll see. And then I also planted the Sarah Bernhardt peony root in the pot about 1 inch below the surface of the soil. Watered that in. The reason I did that one in a pot is so that I can maneuver it back and forth between sun and shade, depending on the time of the year and the heat that we're experiencing, until I have a more shaded area ready for it. Okay, hope you guys enjoyed today, and I hope that you will try out some bare root planting to see how it does. Just make sure you follow the steps. Make sure you take the time to soak the roots, all right, to allow them to plump back up with moisture and get going before you plant them. As always, she's a mad gardener or decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.